or that they trace and locate the families of these particular victims. And we do think that this is a disregard for dignity of the victims. It speaks to the absolute contempt this government has for the poor people involved in this and the trauma that they are putting them through.
Political parties in Parliament have started responding to President Cyril Ramaphosa's speech during the opening of Parliament. The President addressed a joint sitting of Parliament at the Cape Town City Hall last night. ANC Chief Whip Dumiseni Ntuli says his party has realized that much of the progress that the ANC has made, such as housing, economic growth, and the provision of services such as electricity, has been reversed in the recent past.
However, the period between 2008 and 2022 saw a major reversal of some of the strategic gains. That constituted a major setback on the advancement of the National Democratic Revolution. The outcomes of the May national and provincial elections confirmed that reality. Despite all of that, the ANC resolved to forge unity among South Africans across race, religion, creed, and that support is unwavering.
And a major technical problem with computer systems is disrupting business and government services in many parts of the world. A number of U.S. airlines have grounded their planes. Berlin and Amsterdam airports have also been affected. The BBC's Zoe Kleinman has more.
There is absolute chaos in some parts of the world. This outage appears to be affecting everything from airlines, train lines, airports, banks. The London Stock Exchange has reported technical issues this morning. We know that Microsoft says it's investigating an incident to do with its US cloud service. And there's a company called CrowdStrike, which does antivirus software, if you like. And there are lots of reports suggesting that it has issued an antivirus update that has gone horribly wrong.
The top story at 1 o'clock, KZN Police Commissioner Ntandla Mkhwanazi says officers are working closely with the Revenue Service SARS to provide protection for people conducting investigations into tax evasion. For SAFM News, Ke Mudupima Khalemele. Up next, The Full Circle.
SAFM 104 to 107 nationwide.
S3 is bringing you the best in Indian cinema every Sunday at 2 p.m. Laugh, dance, get drawn into the drama, revved up with the action, and maybe, just maybe, shed a little tear. Catch Gagi on the 7th of July, Selfie on the 14th, Prince on the 21st, and Laila Majnu on the 28th. It's Indian cinema like you've never seen it before. Channel your best entertainment with Indian cinema only on S3. Open up.
S3. The countdown to the Paris Olympics 2024 is just days away. Live the intense rivalries, inspiring comebacks, and record-breaking performances from a wide variety of sporting disciplines such as aquatics, athletics, gymnastics, boxing, breakdancing, and football. Experience the Olympic Games Paris 2024 from Friday 26 July until Sunday 11 August. Live on SABC Sport, the proud broadcaster of the Olympic Games Paris 2024.
For the love of the game.
The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
It is, of course, Something Soweto coming through, and that is how we open up the show this afternoon. It was a bit of a party from our side. We thought we'd kick it off on a vibrant note today because it is Friday, and of course, the sun is out, the sun is shining. It's a beautiful day, and we're wrapping up what was a very productive week from our end. And so we thought, well, why not? Why not Something Soweto with Aglalegi featuring Shasha on that particular one. It's just gone 10 past 1 o'clock. We've got a relatively easy but jam-packed show today. It is Friday after all, and you know on Friday we take a focus on all things arts and culture, and we tend to be in conversations with fun, fabulous friends of the show, and today is no different. We're going to be joined by the legendary South African group Stimela is in the house. And then we're also going to be touching base with South African fashion entrepreneur and designer Palisa Mokubong. She's got a new partnership that she's launched with one of the top 4 banks, and she'll tell us more about that. That's coming up in the first hour of the show. On the other side of 2 o'clock, we delve into stages, pages, screens, and more. And then, of course, we wrap up the show by catching up with South African icon, pianist, composer, healer. Of course, Udokotela Nduduzo Makatini is going to be joining us in studio for full access. 086 000 2032 is the number that you can call us on. 0614104107 is our WhatsApp line. If you'd like to send through a WhatsApp voice note, you're more than welcome to do so. In fact, we encourage you to do so. If you have any reflections, memories, questions, or anything that you'd like to say to our first guest, the legendary South African group Stimela, you are more than welcome to start sharing those right now. 0614104107 is our WhatsApp line. It is the Full Circle with myself, Bridget Masinga.
Arts, culture, and robust conversations with Bridget Masinga.
I mean, when we play Stimela, I think a lot of people who grew up on SAFM and, who grew up on your music just get very happy. Yeah. They get very, very happy. The old toppies, as we like to call them, the baby boomers are suddenly in their element. Stimela is in the house, and we did say that they're going to be joining us today for a little bit of conversation. And our lines are open, by the way, on 061-410-4107 is our WhatsApp line. 086-000-2032 is the number that you have. And of course, joining me in studio, we've got Uba Mtokozo Zungu, we've got Aput Sizwe Mashinini, and Aput Sam Dlovu, who form the members of Stimela. But this is not the complete...
No.
The complete group.
No, this is not. These are the representatives.
Representatives.
As you may know that over the past, I would say since 2010, because that's the time when we lost the great Nana Coyote Motijwane. Then I came in. And 2017 we lost Chikapa. 2019 we lost Isaac Mnamjali. 2021 we lost Lloyd Lilosa. So as they said that Stimela is an institution, it meant that when others get off the train, there's got to be those that come on board to keep the train going. Hence, you see Sizwe Mashinini. I represent the beginning of the transition. Sizwe represents the future. Babu Zungu represents the old guard.
Yes.
So this is, Stimela today, before, today, and tomorrow.
I like that, though, because I also think that speaks to... great groups, as you said, great groups, oftentimes the group holds in its essence, but the members come and go for various reasons. But the essence of the brand that has been created and the identity remains sturdy, So I kind of like that indeed. And maybe let's start then with the old guard. Let's start with the old guard. Let's rewind it back. Let's go back to those, out before my time, as I would say. The genesis of the group. What was the genesis of Stimela? I mean, when the initial members got together and decided to form this group, what was that motivation behind it?
Well, I joined late, 87. So we was a lot of politics, politics ngaleso sikhathi. So Obaba Mandela besese majele. So
yes.
Impact yayilapho ukuthi fanele phume sifuna freedom. But kuyazi incindezi yayikhona, it was too much incindezi. So sasikhiphela ku music ukukhuluma ukuthi okay, sicela izwe lethu libuye back because siyasafa, sicindazelwa sinamalungelo. So into enkulu kwakuyileyo no music ukujabulisa abantu ku music, that kind of struggling.
Yeah. I listen, and we're going to touch on that, Futhi Babane. We're going to expand on that a little bit, but I just want to take a break here. It's just gone 1:20. We'll come back on the other side and continue our conversation.
Shopping sprees, catching flights while others catch feelings, shaking that thing while sipping on some bubbles on a yacht in Dubai. Some call it living soft. Ndofo. Tune into Sugar Baby Dating, a highly revealing documentary that lifts the lid of the sugar baby dating phenomenon and talks to girls who have a string of rich older men funding their lifestyles and the women that feel damaged by the whole experience. This Thursday at 10 p.m. Is it just a little frivolous fun, or is there a sinister side to sugar baby dating? Channel your inner curiosity with Sugar Baby Dating, 11 July at 10 p.m. only on S3. Open up. S3.
Futafri is more than just football. It's a celebration of passion, community, and the magic of Africa's beautiful game. Futafri, goes beyond the final score. Uncover the heart of the game with special profile segments, taking you on a captivating journey across the continent. Experience the fabric of African football. Foot Afrique, every Saturday at 1:30 p.m. on SABC1 and Mondays at 6:30 p.m. on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. Proudly brought to you by SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
You are listening to The Full Circle.
It is The Full Circle with myself, Bridget Masinga, on SAFM, and we're hanging out with the legendary South African group Stimela. 086 000 2032 and 061 410 4107. If you have a reflection or a memory to share with them, you are more than welcome to do so. Perhaps there's something that you've always wanted to ask them. This is your opportunity. Let's also, I want to find out, I know initially that Stimela was actually named Cannibals.
The Cannibals.
Yeah.
That's
Such
where
a bizarre
50% of the group of the original members came from.
Cannibals.
Yeah, and then 50% came from the Movers.
Oh, so it was the Cannibals and the Movers coming together.
Yeah, Lloyd Lilusa and Jabu Sibumbe came from the Movers.
Okay.
Ray Phiri and Mngam Jali came from the Cannibals. So around the end of 79, the conversations started happening to say, gents, what we're doing on this side and what you're doing, we can come together and do something.
Yeah.
And then 1980, that's when Stimela was actually formed.
Oh, it was formed in 1980, just
Yeah.
a year shy of my birthday.
Yeah.
And then I am told that there was a situation that transpired where the band found itself in Mozambique. I read this, where the band found themselves in Mozambique. Were you there, Tatntogos?
No, I was not there.
You weren't there?
Yeah.
And then they were stranded there for 3 months in Mozambique.
Yeah.
Firstly, I can't fathom being stranded in Mozambique for 3 months.
Yeah.
And that trip also impacted sort of the evolution of the band when they came back.
Yeah.
How so?
The story as told by the brothers was that they went there for a tour in Mozambique. And for some reason, the promoter took their passports so that they couldn't come back home before they finished what they had gone there to do.
Oh.
And then they performed, and for some reason, some of the things didn't go as they had expected they would go. And I remember the great Mnga narrating the story that they decided to say, now we know the guy that's got our passports, and we know the guy that's got the money. So he said to Ray, you run to the guy that's got our passports, I'll run to the guy that's got the money. And then you grab the passports, I grab the money, and then we run. So that's the story that was told. And actually, they had to take the train back to South Africa. That's when the inspiration of the name Stimela came about, because they had to sell some of their belongings, because even the money that they took was not enough
to travel
back home. So those are the foundations of this great institution.
Yeah.
We're standing here today because they paid the price.
Absolutely. And I can imagine, back when we talk about money, in my mind also I'm thinking back in those days, surely even if you are performing across the borders, you're probably not even making that much, right? You're not making that much. Shoot.
It was very difficult.
Nah? How did you get through those initial years there, Bamtogozo, those years of the early stages of the group when you were still, the gigs weren't as regular as into zasingahambi according to schedule?
It was very tough.
Ne?
It was very tough because lapha nathi sidlalela nje ukuthi kade sidlalela ubumnandi sikade singadlalela imali leyo mali kade yakumanage ade simanage uthola ukuthi that guy unama funds nyana ukuthola ama instrument siyadlala uzosithengela ukudla sihlala kwakhe ama-instrument ngawakhe asinalutho
so nabafana bakhe
yeah so uyasi-owner
basically
yeah uyasi-owner but manje lento ingaphakathi kuthina
yeah
fanele sibekezelele lokho because ngiqale Natal ukudlala but kaze ngakhuphuka Johannesburg.
And interestingly enough, what Mamdogos is saying as well, I've heard now BET award winner Makadzi speak of her story of how she came about, and she has like a similar kind of story, which you know, for the passion of the music, because this is all she ever wanted to do. She basically found herself being housed by producers and musicians, but people who exploited her, who made her, you know, the domestic, the cook, the this, the that, the other.
Sure.
And she was willing to hang in because she was just like, I just want to do this thing. So whatever it takes.
Yeah.
That's the story of a lot of creatives, unfortunately or sadly. But then also it speaks of the power of that which burns within you. Because you sometimes you can't explain to the next person what you're feeling inside. But there's this thing that says, keep going. And that's why we're here today. Because even if you look at the formation of Stimela, the 4 guys that I spoke about, 3 of the 4 came from Bombela, Mpumalanga, where I come from. And 1, Lloyd Lilusa, came from the East Rand. So what brought them together was the passion to say, we want to do something that is out of the ordinary. That is why when you listen to a Stimela song, it's not like any other. It goes to the heart of what brought these creatives, these visionaries together.
Absolutely. It's 1:30. Let's take a quick pause here for the headline news. I think Ann Musa is standing by, and then we'll come back on the other side and we'll continue our conversations.
Thanks, Bridget. With the news headlines at 1:30, Mudupi Makhalemele, good afternoon. The KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi says officers are working closely with the Revenue Service SARS to provide protection for people conducting investigations into tax evasion. The Marshalltown Fire Justice Campaign has condemned the Gauteng Health Department's decision to withhold the bodies of some of the victims of the Usundiso building fire in the Joburg CBD. And students in Bangladesh have vowed to continue to blockade roads across the country in protest against a quota system on government jobs. Those are your headlines. A full news update coming up at 2.
You are listening to The Full Circle.
Oh, Madupi, you know, these people, they make you and I fight, right? But yes, absolutely the voice of Madupi Makhalemela. And Madupi, funny enough, Aput Sem here in studio just did your sort of vocal announcement the way you do it with all the inflections.
Kimudupi Makhalime.
With all the inflections. We love to see it. We got a message that says, good afternoon, Bridget. And Wam Dogozo. Dogozo was part of the live recording of Stimela. I have that double LP with Ray introducing members saying one of the ladies as a figure, has a figure of Coca-Cola bottle. Beautiful album from Jeff Nong. And then the other one was, I was in primary and high school when Stimela would come to perform at HMPG and Moritela Park. I was too young to attend then. Unfortunately, I saw them at the State Theatre years later. Nana Koyoto's voice was just amazing. And this was from Bongani in Mamelodi. It brings back memories, no?
Serious.
Serious memories. You can see, like, Bam Togozo there is reflecting. But this way, you are the representation of the new guard. And I can imagine when one joins a group like this, well, maybe let me not imagine. When one joins a group like this, what is that feeling for you? Because you do stand on the shoulders of some ginormous legends. But at the same time, you also, I presume that maybe you want to bring your own flair and your own generation's sort of perspective on what the sound could be moving forward.
Oh, yeah. So I think that's the beauty of having young people in this institution, that you get a gist of the history and the current. But because I am futuristic, then I get to kind of like envision what the future sound can be and where this could go to. That's why I think it was a very good decision for them to have the young guys coming in, because we are able to kind of like project the future sound of it, and to create relevance between the old, the present, and that which is coming. And I think that's the responsibility that we now have. For now, I think it is important for me to take in as much information as I possibly can, because I mean they're still alive. So it's important for me. There's another keyboard player called Mpoko Disang who is not here. He's also young, so we're absorbing as much as we can. At the right time, then we'll be able to take it further, to take the lead. But for now, we're just observing and learning, as it is always said that this is an institution.
Absolutely.
So we're still in the learning phase as students.
Did you grow up listening to their music?
The funny thing is, I used to watch Ray Phiri dance on TV when I was still like 5 years old or something. You know, I never in my wildest imagination thought I'd ever be in one space as them. So whenever I would we'd have performances, I'd reimagine, you know, the TV, with the black and white TV era, you know, where I would watch them on TV. So it's unbelievable. I still pinch myself even today. I still can't believe it.
Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
Well, listen, believe it. You are here. You are right here.
Yeah.
What do you want the legacy of Stimela? You know, when one sort of looks back at the 3 chapters, past, present, and future, what would the hope be for the legacy of this band, specific to the South African music landscape?
We talk of 3 groups in South Africa today. We talk of Ladysmith Black Mambazo. We talk of the Soul Brothers. Then we talk of Stimela. Those bands are iconic in a sense that they have been. They came onto the scene and did what had never been done before. That's what sets them apart from everybody else. For us, the responsibility then, as Sizwe put it, is to make sure that which we've learned from Chikapa, that which we've learned from Lloyd, from Jabu, from Tapelo, it's things that we make sure that those come after us, those that come after us, learn from us so that they are able to carry the legacy forward. Stimela has got its own way of doing things. You can play with all the bands and all of that, but the moment you come to Stimela, you realize this is a different beast. So for us, it's to make sure that this beast remains what it is. That is why when you listen to the works that we're doing now, you can trace it back to even before they were called Stimela. That's just how deep we've gone to make sure that the sound, the authenticity of Stimela can never be taken for granted. That's what we want those that come after us to learn from us.
So looking into this future, I mean, you know, we can reflect on old works, but we are here now. It's 2024.
Yeah.
Looking into this future, what are you? And you speak about, you know, some works that you're working on now. Tell us a little bit about that. Like, what does the new sound, the new offering, the new projects, if they are in the pipelines, what do those look like? And, you know, when do South Africans expect those?
We've got a new single coming out on the 26th of July. It's been 7 years since we've released an album. It's been 7 years since Chikapa left us. So there's a single that's coming out. It's called Juju. It's coming out on the 26th. Already it's available for downloads digitally. We have dug deep. We have not sought to short circuit anything, because for Stimela to remain Stimela, we have to be honest to ourselves, to the sound, and we have to be as authentic as we can get. So the music, obviously, we've got Ntokozo on the people that have played. We've got Mpho, Sizwe, Sismandisa Dlanga, Noxolo Khatebe, Bongani Masina. Who am I leaving, Manzini? Ubane ngimshiya. So that's the team. Ntokozo is on guitar, lead guitar. Sizwe on keyboards. I'm on lead vocals. So the sound is unmistakably Stimela. And the people that have heard it, because radio has started playing it, the people that have heard it are saying, I can hear the drumming of Isaac Mjali. He's gone, but I can hear his drumming. I can hear the singing of Ray Peary. We're not trying to be Ray, we're not trying to be Lloyd, we're not trying to be Isaac, but there's the DNA that makes this Stimela. It has to be. We don't force it. It comes out. And that's what makes us feel humbled and honored, because we are the generation that comes to say, when they said it's an institution, they meant it should never end when any of us or them left. Seeing Stimela going back into the studio, coming back with such a powerful product. We've got Unatinkai, I almost forgot, featured on one of the songs. And we've got Louis Mhlanga on another song. So we've got Fana Zulu on another. So you see, we have not, as I said, short-circuited the process.
Listen, I'm excited. Sorry, my eyes is casting there because we're getting some messages. Someone was saying that their dream is to see, and I want to see this quickly. I think they said, what do they say? My dream is to see Stimela features Java and Nduduzo Makhathini. And this is Brian. In fact, Nduduzo Dokotela is coming through later on in the show. But that, I mean, it'd be interesting, right? Considering where music is moving.
And it's
very
not
beautiful.
Yes,
very beautiful.
It's not impossible.
Bab Ntokozo is saying it's a done deal. So there we go. I will see.
Yes, Sure.
And I'm sure Java wouldn't mind jumping on a Stimela collab.
One of the most important things with the friends or the family of Stimela is that they tell us what they hear and we listen to what they say. They want this to happen, it shall happen, because this belongs to Stimela. It's the people's band.
There we go. Gents, we are wrapping it up now. Do you have a performance coming up anytime soon?
We are planning a launch in Bombela.
Okay.
To launch the Lomsebendi Leswendile. And it would really be an honor to have you and your team grace that occasion.
Well,
so
listen,
we'll communicate.
Let's communicate, and who knows, maybe we can even rope in Bombela tourism to take this little show on the road.
Well, you understand.
It's just gone 2 o'clock. Let's pause here, and then we'll come back on the other side and catch up with Balisa Makubong. That was Stimela. Gents, thank you so much for coming through to the show today. Much appreciated.
Thank you for having us.
Your geyser would have hot water, but some people overloaded the transformer with their illegal connections. You're late again, and the robots don't work. Some people vandalized it for copper. The whole community doesn't have electricity because some people have been bridging meters for a small fee, and now the transformer has exploded due to overloading. Don't allow illegal connections by criminals to inconvenience you and your community. Report criminals to ESCOM on 0800 11 2722 or the SAPS. Save your transformer. Save lives.
Every year, 30,000 missionaries are called to serve the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints across the globe, the largest full-time missionary force of any church. Most are under 25 and away from home for up to 2 years. And the biggest training center in Europe is located in Chorley, Lancashire. The Moments Are Coming follows the journey of 3 young missionaries through the first few months of training and work in the field, which can make or break them. Tune into The Moments Are Coming, Thursdays at 10 p.m. Channel your best dockies with BBC Primetime, only on S3. Open up.
Stages, pages, screens, and more with Bridget Masinga.
It is the full circle with myself, Bridget Masinga. We're getting into stages, pages, screens, and more. Palisa Mokubong is the visionary founder of the award-winning fashion brand Manchu, and she joins me now. And we're going to be talking around this unprecedented collaboration with one of the big 4 banks, and she's launched the innovative Now More People Can Premium fashion line, and she'll tell us more about that. How are you doing, Palisa? You good?
Hi, Bridget. Good, thanks, and you?
I'm great, Mama. First and foremost, congratulations on the little one that arrived into this chaotic world a couple of months ago.
Right, my poor baby. Thank you, Bridget. I appreciate that.
Awesome. Let's get into this new launch, this new collaboration. I mean, you're forever pushing the boundaries with your brand Manchu, and this is no different now. Tell me about this collaboration.
I think so. I think it is a step in the right direction. It is the Now More People Can Premium collection. It is the first ever fashion collection inspired by a bank account. It's the exclusive collection was created for, I guess, to embody the notion of the My Goals Premium account, which is giving more people the chance to enjoy the premium lifestyle and everything that comes with it. You know, Manchu, we pride ourselves in creating a high-end product. And what was lovely about this is that it was made in-house. So, it really, I guess, it gave back into the local economy. Yeah. And I was taking inspiration from the Nedbank My Goals Premium account, which was also designed to allow more people, I guess, to experience, the lifestyle that I have created and the notion that we already believe in emancipation. So that was also the synergy that I enjoyed, about partnering with Nedbank.
Now, interestingly enough, Palisa, right? Like when we think about sort of fashion finance collaborations, we'll think maybe banks backing, fashion shows and banking activations by designers, and some of the big players on this continent back some of the biggest fashion weeks. But we've never really thought of the concept of where fashion is quite literally merging with finance. And that makes it rather interesting, right? Because also in the back of my mind, I'm trying to think, well, what does that look like?
It looks like, it feels like money. I want people to feel like they can afford the best in that life has to offer. I think the concept makes people comfortable with the idea of being exclusive in an inclusive kind of concept. So I think you need the leggings, Bridget, because I've seen you in the gym. I think you need the leggings set to understand the feeling that one will get in, and just the look of it, since you're asking about, what that looks like. It's obviously a beautiful graphic print. I love, Manchu is all about celebrating our, African creativity and, heritage and craftsmanship, through the prints that we offer, the silhouettes that we offer, and this is nothing less of that. We gave Nedbank the best of what we had to offer. If you look at that print, it is made, from the heart. And I also am at a place where I want to be very comfortable with the idea of, luxury myself. It's something that I create, I create a product under that umbrella, but it's something that I need to start believing that I'm worth, in all areas of my life. So I really I'm enjoying the challenge of just being in the state of mind.
Yeah. And by way of just the collaboration, perhaps even potentially changing the perceptions around high fashion within broader South Africa, how are you, or how do you believe that this will ignite that conversation or spark that change around how we perceive high fashion and high fashion that's South African high fashion?
Well, historically, South Africa doesn't have, it's just a handful of us who make high fashion, right? The industry is less than 30 years old. The South African fashion industry is less than 30 years old. So we still have a long way to go. And high fashion has been viewed as, exclusive and out of reach for many years, for a really long time internationally and locally, as well. If you're wearing a manku, people know that you're wearing it. It's like you're wearing a Chanel.
Yeah.
In the local aspect. So, with the now more people can premium collection, we're breaking down, those barriers. We're offering luxury pieces that are more attainable. We're demonstrating that everyone deserves the experience and the experience to enjoy the quality of high fashion at an affordable price.
Yeah. Listen, I'm quite intrigued and I can't wait to peep exactly what you create as part of this collaboration with the Green Bank, aka Nedbank, with the Now More People Can Premium collection. That was Palisa Mokubong. We have to leave it there for this afternoon. And of course, Palisa, is the award-winning fashion director behind the brand, Mansu. It's time for us to get into Kids Corner, which will run us until the top of the hour. And then Madupi's coming through with your 2:00 news.
Get ready to make your life easier with TV License's new website features. We upgraded to the secure iVery 3D payment gateway and the ability to manage your account information, view, print, and download a detailed TV license statement. You can make website queries for an account and technical support, which has made things immensely easier. It is now a smooth, effortless process that can respond to all user inquiries quickly and efficiently. It is a great way to quickly get the help you need without worrying about a thing. Get started now and enjoy the convenience of TV License's new website features. Visit www.tvlic.co.za today. TV Licenses, do it for the convenience that matter.
If you love premium documentaries, then we know you love Thursday nights on S3. Broadcaster Alice Levine asks if there's anything such as normal when it comes to sex and sexuality in the 2020s. She meets sexual adventurers up and down Britain, those pushing the boundaries of sex, intimacy and relationships. Tune into Sex Actually, Thursdays at 9 p.m. Channel your inner curiosity with BBC Primetime, only on S3. Open up. S3.
Hello friends and welcome to Nali Bali. As fast as our daily activities go from classroom to activity to home and back again, our brains are just as rapidly growing and changing. The foods we eat are important as children because these years are critical for our brain development and what we eat affects our focus and cognitive skills. Foods like eggs, fish, nuts, apples and many others can help with your memory and brain. So guys, today's story is called Ella's Memory, written by Pumlani Mavimbela. But before we listen to today's story, let's all get up and dance! Every year, a big herd of African elephants walked across the dusty, dry land to journey from Botswana to the banks of the Great Zambezi River. Ella, who was one of the elephant calves, was looking forward to her first trip.
Little Ella, listen carefully.
Mama and Papa Elephant called out to her.
Since this will be your first trip to the Zambezi, there are 5 elephant rules that you must always remember and obey. Rule 1. Always stay with the herd. Rule 2. Always stay on the elephant's path. Rule 3. If you suddenly lose the elephant's path, look for our footprints. If you can't find our footprints, you must follow the rhino horn-shaped hill. Rule 4. Never, and I mean never, speak to any strange animals, especially that wicked and wild painted dog. And Rule 5. If you get lost, trust only the rabbit and the butterfly. Okay?
I will not forget, Dad. I promise.
Ella promised. And so Ella, her mom, and Papa joined the great herd and began the long journey to the Great Zambezi River. Ella remembered the elephant rules and stayed with the herd. That was until a little tiny ladybird flew past her. It was bright red with little polka dots on its wings.
Wow, that's so pretty.
Ella said as the ladybird danced before her eyes and then she flew off.
Hey, come back!
Ella shouted as she chased after it. She pushed her way through other elephant families. Ella was very fast for a baby elephant and soon she disappeared. The bright red ladybird flew deep into the bush. Soon Ella was running so fast she didn't see a ditch, and so down she tumbled and splat. She was covered in mud. She tried to climb out, but she kept slipping back down.
Oh no! What am I going to do now?
She cried. Suddenly the ground beneath her moved, and out popped a little rabbit. He wore a tiny yellow safety hat.
Oh, hello. You must be one of those strange little elephants that looks like a pig. Nice to meet you.
He greeted.
No, I'm just a real elephant,
said Ella shyly.
Oh, really? That's very disappointing. I'd love to have taken a selfie with a pig elephant. And besides, why are you in the mud?
Asked Rabbit.
Well, I fell into the ditch by mistake, and now I can't climb out. I need to get back to my herd.
I think I can get you out, but only if you pretend to be a pig elephant and take a selfie with me. I'm a rabbit, and so I can dig a hole through the mud and you can get out.
Ella agreed to the request, and the rabbit took a selfie with her, then dug a winding tunnel that helped Ella climb out of the muddy ditch.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rabbit,
said Ella, and hugged him with her little trunk.
Okay, bye. You take care now.
The rabbit shouted, waving goodbye to Ella. But when Ella went back through the bush, it was already dark. She couldn't see the elephant's footprints. And she couldn't see the rhino horn-shaped hill.
Oh no, I can't see at night.
Ella was exhausted, so she sat down and cried. Just then, she felt something moving behind her. She got a fright when she turned around to find a wild-looking painted dog staring at her.
Oh dear, I am so sorry. Did I scare you?
The painted dog said, straightening his tie.
I didn't mean to. I'm so sorry. I'm the professional painted dog. Nice to meet you.
He reached out a paw to greet Ella, but she remembered her papa's warning not to trust the painted dog. She quickly turned and hurried away as fast as she could.
Hey, where are you going, little elephant?
Called the painted dog.
Wait, hold on. I can show you where the rhino horn-shaped hill is.
Ella began running, but she knew that the painted dog could run faster than she could. She heard the sound of water splashing, so she ran towards it and fell into a small river. Elephants are great swimmers, but the same could not be said about the painted dogs. Ella swam until she reached the shore. She had gotten away from the wicked painted dog, but sadly, she was truly lost. Or was she? Just as the sun started to rise the next morning, a beautiful yellow butterfly sat on the tip of Ella's trunk.
Little elephant, come with me,
It said with a tiny voice. Ella remembered that Papa had said she could trust butterflies, so she followed it through a small forest until she saw the rhino horn-shaped hill. Then she heard the familiar sound, stopping sounds, and sounds of elephants trumpeting. Ella ran to the rhino horn-shaped hill until she saw the great head of elephants. Papa and Mama Elephant, who had been very worried about her, rushed to give Ella a big hug. Thanks to Ella's good memory, because she had recalled everything that her parents had taught her about the 5 elephant rules, and she had found her way back home. And so we come to the end of another Nalibali story time. Today's story was called Ella's Memory, written by Pumlani Mavimbela. Did you know that reading and telling stories to children at home can help them do better at school? If you want free stories to read to your children or for your children to enjoy on their own, visit Nalibali website www.nalibali.org or Mobi site www.nalibali.mobi. You will find stories in 11 South African languages, as well as tips for reading and sharing stories with your children to grow their potential. Also look out for the bilingual Nalibali Reading for Enjoyment supplements with great children's stories and activities available in newspapers. Nalibali, it starts with a story.
The top stories at 2 o'clock. Police react to the shooting of a SARS lawyer and a Gqeberha man sentenced for defrauding SARS. A very good afternoon. KZN Police Commissioner Ntantla Mkhwanazi says officers are working closely with the Revenue Service SARS to provide protection for people conducting investigations into tax evasion. This after Advocate Coreth Nyodier was shot and wounded yesterday outside a hotel in Umhlanga, north of Durban, in an apparent hit. She was attacked by 2 men who fled in a car with cloned number plates. Mkhwanazi says the case has been handed over to the Hawks.
Yeah, well, the unfortunate incident happened yesterday, and thanks to, again, the security partners that we work very close with, who were in the immediate vicinity that responded quickly in order to prevent the further damage that will have been done to the advocate.
The Specialized Commercial Crimes Court in Gqeberha has sentenced a man to 5 years imprisonment for submitting false tax returns to SARS from the period 2018 to 2020. Authorities say Charles Welile is the sole proprietor of Zidilex Trading, which traded as Weza Projects. The company was registered with SARS for VAT purposes in December 2008. NPA spokesperson Luxolo Jali says Mia changed the company's bank account details without notifying SARS and submitted revised returns without providing supporting documents. He says Mia was convicted for 16 counts of fraud against SARS.
The South African Revenue Service, SARS, is an important role player in the overall economic well-being of the country. So, for that reason, those who go out of their way to defraud it should be punished harshly. The NPA will continue to channel all necessary resources to ensure that we adopt an increasingly aggressive stance in prosecuting serious commercial crimes of the nature that was committed by Charles Welile Mia.
The Marshalltown Fire Justice Campaign has condemned the Gauteng Health Department's decision to withhold the bodies of some of the victims of the Usundiso building fire in the Joburg CBD. Next month will mark the first anniversary of the tragedy. 77 people died and 100 others were displaced in the fire. The campaign's Mamitwa Sibei says the department's refusal to release the bodies disregards the poor and their dignity.
Some of them have provided DNA, and for some reason the department says that there is no sufficient evidence insofar as the DNA is concerned to link them to those particular families. In case of others, they are claiming that other families have not stepped forward to come and claim them. But we argue that obviously there's not been enough investment in making sure that they trace and locate the families of this particular victim. And we do think that this is a disregard for dignity of the victims. It speaks to the absolute contempt this government has for the poor people involved in this and the trauma that they are putting them through.
The MK Party's parliamentary leader John Hlophe has repeated one of the party's election promises that the section dealing with land expropriation in the Constitution must be amended. He says the amendment should allow for the expropriation of land without compensation. He was responding to President Cyril Ramaphosa's opening of Parliament address last night. Hlophe, who participated in his first parliamentary debate, says land remains an important issue to MK supporters.
We need agrarian revolution, which has been lacking. Rural areas in the main have not been taken seriously. Whilst, of course, the struggle continues for Section 25 of the Constitution to be amended. We are not apologetic about our stance. We remain firm. Section 25 of the Constitution must be amended to make provision for expropriation of land without compensation.
And students in Bangladesh have vowed to continue to blockade roads across the country in protest against a quota system on government jobs. Gunfire and explosions continued overnight, but the streets were reported to be quiet in the morning. The BBC's Arunodai Mukherjee has more.
Thursday appears to have been one of the deadliest days of the ongoing student clashes so far. Now, the evening saw thousands of protesters storming the state broadcaster BTV, vandalizing its office and setting parts of it on fire. Earlier in the day, tear gas and rubber bullets were used by officers as students created human blockades on the streets. The capital city of Dhaka is seeing a near-total internet blackout, with phone lines also down. Now, the government has been trying to quell the protests, switching off the country's mobile internet in an attempt to slow the protests.
The top story at 2, KZN Police Commissioner Ndlandla Mkhwanazi says officers are working closely with the Revenue Service SARS to provide protection for people conducting investigations into tax evasion. The Full Circle continues. For SAFM News, Kemudupi Makhalemeli.
The Full Circle with Bridget Masinga, Monday to Friday, 1 to 3 p.m.
Ukhosatsana ya kweneng unaledi mrotsana ya itobileng tojana ya tisili mahlo masweu wa hohela seketlileng sifahleo waratea lihara batho wa tsotea kantleli ka hare wa buheha sifubeng ke mafika twali ya mo Afrika mahlakureng ke masakana ka morao ke maralla uhoto ubupeile ukablomboto uchisa fita onto kikana ka buslango bantweti hey you Mufumani, Kimutoti, Musadi wa Mankhonte, no, yeah, Kimufumani, Musadi wa Sebili, Kimutoti, Musadi wa Mankhonte, Ulisika labu reneng, Manapo haitse reality. Small model, Lisa Hubo Hotel, how boya one limaza. Lintwile tobi leng, how buwe kanzu bina mino podi leng. Lau kanyamela, dilimolim, kitlau emela. Sifu benki mafika, twali yangu Afrika mahlakureng ki masakana kamora ukimarala wana batu uhoto ubufei ukablompoto uchiso fita oto kikana kabuslang bantueti oh man oh yeah Musadi wasibili kimutoti no musadi wa mankote kimufumani musadi wasibili kimutoti no musadi wa mankote kimufumani
It is the full circle with myself, Bridget Masinga Press, coming through right there. That is how we kick off the 2 o'clock hour of the show. It's just gone 10 past 2, by the way. And this little train of ours continues well on its way. We are now going to be looking at all things stages, pages, screens, and more.
Stages, pages, screens, and more with Bridget Masinga.
So the team behind last year's much acclaimed production of Congolosi Commanding Commissars, the tongue twister, return to the Market Theatre, and of course at this time they reprising Poet O-Type in celebration of the 10th anniversary of the play. And we've got joining me in studio Billy Langa, who is one of the cast members of this particular one, alongside Trevor Lynch, who's also a cast member. Good afternoon to you, gents. How are you all doing?
Good. Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming through and sharing your Friday with us. It's been 10 years. Wait, firstly, do I have it correct that both of you are cast in the play, right?
Yes.
Billy,
yes.
you're not part of the co-writing element of it?
No.
Not at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just original cast member.
Aha, you were in the
ago.
first one.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, that must be interesting if you in a production, at its iteration 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And then 10 years later, here you are again.
It's amazing. I mean, we keep on saying that, life has happened over the 10 years.
Yeah.
And then you also discover how much has happened to the character in the 10 years and how much you didn't know of them. And of course, 10 years ago, a person was still a kid trying to figure out this guy. And then 10 years later, you've gone almost through everything that they have gone through. And the things that are complicated in their lives make sense to you now. So at this moment in time, I think I relate much more with this character
Yeah.
than I did 10 years ago.
It's interesting for us who aren't in theatre, who don't get to jump into characters
Sure.
years later. When you speak about having to inhabit this character now and all the things that he's gone through, and now suddenly you've caught up with him and his lived experience. Because somewhere in the back of my mind, and as our listeners are listening, they're going, wait, but did the character go through evolution in the 10 years? Like, did things happen to him?
Sure.
Or is it the same words from 10 years ago? But you entered them from a different lens now.
Yeah, exactly that. Same words, just that I'm older now. And I guess I understand what he was going through because it's an older character. And I played him while I was younger, and I was a younger person relative to him.
Yeah.
And the beauty of theatre is that you've got the ability of space of making belief. Like you have the opportunity of magic, of making things believable. That a young person who's 15 years can play a 25-year-old somebody. And 10 years later, they play the 25-year person.
Yeah.
So the analysis becomes different, and the relationship from the actor to the character becomes different. And I think it's such a blessing to be doing it 10 years later with Trevor on the board. It's such a beautiful
Trevor,
thing.
You new to the cast.
Yes, ma'am.
Brand new to the cast, new to the role.
Brand new.
Had you seen the production before?
Never.
Never.
Like, I read it in March.
Okay.
I read the script in March.
You read the script in March, and then your audition was in March.
My audition was previous work.
Okay.
You could say, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, look at you.
Yay.
Basically, he just flexed and he said, he said, I was called to this character, please. Didn't audition. What are you talking about? My audition was previous work. They called me. Which then also, I guess, both ways, right? Whether you're fresh to a character in a production, whether you're old to a character in a production, both lend itself to an interesting experience and an interesting perspective as to what you bring on stage, right?
Yes.
And you play Grasshopper. Tell me more.
So Grasshopper, he's a like young, you say eager. He's excited. He's enthusiastic. He wants
I
to
see
be,
why.
Yeah, he wants to be this great poet. And I guess also similarly, it does feed into that actor character thing again, because here I am also a young actor trying to do the thing, trying to get, into roles that are like this, that are like really deep and really like authentic to the soul. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, I'm really enjoying tapping in myself while also like experiencing his world. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah.
You're streaming us, right? If you're streaming, then you can see the mannerisms of the young Trevor Lynch in studio. And I've not watched the play. I'm not familiar with the play. But if I'm drawing the right kind of inferences and conclusions, I see why he's cast as Grasshopper. Yeah, I got it. Maybe let's also understand, the premise of the play.
Sure.
Yeah.
So it's a relationship of these two poets, a mentor and a mentee. The guru has retired from poetry, and the grasshopper wants to enter the poetry scene and goes to the guru to ask for guidance.
Yeah.
And what Jeff has done, he's done a very beautiful thing. He set this relationship in a restaurant coffee shop where they're using culinary arts as a vehicle for poetry.
Yeah.
And they go through this intense argument of like, how does it happen? Is it possible to make a living out of the art of poetry? Should we become famous to make a living out of it? And that's the banter that they go through. And I mean, what the guru learns as well from the grasshopper is quite interesting. That is because of his innocence and his eagerness, there's possibility, there's hope, and it's quite fascinating. I mean, for me now, watching the grasshopper going flip. I wish I was young, that I could believe that this is possible, and it's such a beautiful thing as well to see the grasshopper fighting for this possibility. And what the beautiful thing about the play is that it goes even beyond poetry. It goes into industries like faculties. So any engineer who's a staunch guru in that field gets the same complexities or the same arguments of like, how do we become purists?
Yes.
And yet still serve the people. And I guess that's the dialogue that Jeff has managed to put up in such a beautiful way, that it is humanly. It goes beyond the art and gets to the human beings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that speaks to a lot of sort of the themes, right? As
Sure.
you say, you take the themes and you can sort of transplant them into any scenario in
Absolutely.
our live social settings
Sure.
right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. It's interesting. I feel like I want to go and actually see this particular piece and actually see how it unfolds itself on stage, because the other thing, so you know, those sort of abstract themes of life.
Sure.
But then I'm thinking about all the conversations that I have with various creatives.
Sure.
And how even when I'm taking the mickey from creatives, I'll often call to question poets.
Sure.
Yeah.
And go, but okay, how serious is this career path that you've chosen? Which is what the play is set around, right?
Yeah.
Essentially. Because
Yeah.
I'm like, what's that like as a creative, exploring that conversation?
Sure.
Because it's a conversation that you delved into as a creative
Sure.
when you made the decision to follow this path.
Like I think it's very open-ended. Like everyone has their own opinions, right?
Yeah.
I've had a few conversations with people after the shows, and there's always the question: are you the guru? Are you the grasshopper? Are you phantom? Are you trying to be commercial? Are you trying to be an artist? Are you know? So there's always that, and then there's the engineer who comes to watch, and is just wowed. And they might have the thought that, okay, maybe I should have pursued the dream. Maybe I should have done something artistic, something creative for my soul, you know. But here I am. I wake up in the morning, I go do my job, and then I come back home, and I'm not an artist. I'm just making money. I'm taking care of my family. I'm providing. And so, like, those conversations, those debates, they come from the stage, they come outside, like after the show,
Sure.
and it's very interesting. I think for me, like I said, playing the grasshopper, I feel like the grasshopper.
Sure.
Yeah.
But I feel like I want to be a guru one day. I want to be a guru one day.
Sure.
Right?
I mean, and that's I guess that's the thing, that we are all seeking to be great in our fields, right? But equally make a living out of it. And I mean, the stress of speaking about that craft while you're a craftsman is such a difficult one that this is the filter that we're in, and we are looking at the downfalls of it. And this could possibly be our fate as well, that we might not be able to make a living. Truly. Or we might actually make a living.
Right.
Yeah.
And you start going, when you're asking, is this industry really important, this was of poetry? And the guru has a line there that says, minds are at stake when it comes to poetry. Lives hang in balance. So it's a humanly thing. It's an important field. And this is not to look down on any other field. It is as equal as finance.
Absolutely.
It is as important as is finance. And the beauty of now the work is that it's going into also literature. It's looking at like high school material. It does some stuff on physical science and chemistry.
Okay.
So it's really beautiful for like high school students to engage in and look at poetic devices being used, poetic devices at work, and a little class in chemistry. But that is really, 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 really cool.
Yeah.
By the way, I I do not turn my nose down at poets.
Sure.
I take the mickey of poets, but I do not, because for years before we were ever even in the imaginations of the universe,
Sure.
poets were revered
Sure.
as thinkers and philosophers and scholars of societies
Sure.
and cultures, and they very much encapsulated the human experience and the hopes and the dreams of a future.
Sure.
And I often say this, one of the greatest examples of the importance of arts that was ever communicated with me was on a trip to Senegal, Dakar, Senegal, in 2019, where I met a few creatives. And, I was sort of schooled on the significance of the Senegalese president of independence,
Sure.
President Senghor, who himself was a writer, a poet, first and foremost, an academic, and the president.
Sure.
And highly loved and beloved by his nation till today. And he moved from the premise that if you want to know the souls of a people, you have to be introduced to their artistic discipline
Sure.
and principle.
Sure.
And so before even any state visit, from what I'm told, before any state visit to any nation outside of Senegal, he would send a delegation of artists first
so
as a way
amazing.
of introduction
Sure.
as to this is who we are
Yeah.
as Senegalese. Before you even meet me, meet them.
Wild, yeah.
Wouldn't we love a world like
That
that?
would be amazing. It's on the goosebumps.
Wouldn't we love a world like that in South Africa?
That would be great.
Okay, so the play is on, and where are we staging? At the market, right?
the market,
It's at
yeah.
the market. How long is it running?
It's running up until the 28th of July.
28th.
Yeah.
Okay, so until next week's
Yes, Sunday. Yeah.
Next week Sunday.
Yeah.
Lovely. And then by way of the schedule, is it weekends and matinee?
Yes, we do have matinees on Saturday and Sunday.
Okay.
And then in the evenings, it's at 7 o'clock from Wednesdays till Saturday.
7 from Wednesdays until Saturday.
Yeah.
By the way, is it a two-hander? Just the two-hander?
It's a two-hander.
Just the two of you?
Just the two of us with a bulk of words and a beautiful relationship.
A bulk of words and a beautiful relationship. I love that. I mean, clearly there's no, there's a chemistry between the two of you, and there's a nice playfulness here.
Sure.
So it should be interesting to watch how that unfolds on stage.
No, it's dope. If I must say, it's really beautiful. It is beautiful. And I say this as the guru because I get to watch the grasshopper being fantastic.
Yeah.
So I think also the people watch him with me.
Yeah.
They
get that.
Yeah.
They get that. I like it. I like
it's
it.
fire. Yeah. So come through. They must come through. Yeah.
No, we absolutely will come through for this one. And of course, you can get your tickets at the market if you want to see the gentlemen in action. That is Trevor Lynch and Billy Langa, who are the cast members of this play, Poet O Type. It's celebrating its 10th anniversary of the play. Directing this before I leave,
Yes, Ke Mahlatsi Mkhonyana.
Yes. And he directed the first one.
Yes, we co-directed KKK.
Yes.
Which is also written by Jefferson J. Bobs Shabalala. And then movement direction by Ernest Baleni. So this is a team. So what we are becoming intentional about the kind of stuffs that we're doing.
Yeah.
And what Mahlatsi and Ginger have done with this one as well. It's just so beautiful. Like you can see the artistry that lives also not on stage. And it's beautiful, like the sensitivity that they've brought to the work, because the work has always been centered just around words, but they've brought up the poetics of the physical theater. So it's beautiful. It's really gorgeously done. I think their sensitivity towards the work is just uplifted the relationship between the two characters.
Did you say the movement direction?
Yes.
Okay, before we go to the headlines, let's talk about that a little bit.
Sure.
Because I think that's an element that even I am only recently becoming aware that there is such a thing as movement direction within the theatre space.
Absolutely. It's and I mean particularly in South Africa, I think it's a thing that is growing as well, and the intentionality as well is a thing that we also are going towards, that there's so much story in what the body can do away from the words relative to space and other bodies. And what Ginger manages to do in really directing the relationships of the bodies in space, it's extraordinary. So what he does, he directs relationship. He directs positions and places where emotion is relative to the body before the words come into picture. And when it meets word, then there's intention and movement. So the reason why he stands up here,
yes,
the reason why he sits down here, the reason why he goes towards him, so he directs intention. And it's beautiful that it is in movement that you find intention. And it's a field that we haven't really fully invested in the country.
Not at all.
I think we can find some great theatre out of that field.
This is why we do the show, because we continue to learn every single day. You see now, because movement is second nature to anybody, but in its second natureness, like you say, there's an unconscious intentionality with everything. Your body's in sync with your brain and your heart.
Yes.
And you don't think about it when you... I can't with these creators. Let's get to the headline news. That play is being staged at the Market Theatre. You can definitely check the Market's website for more information, and it's running until the 28th of July. If you want to catch the performances starting from Wednesday, running all the way through to Sunday with that matinee show as well. Starring, of course, the two gents, Trevor Lynch and Billy Langa. It's a double header under the directorship of Matlatsi Makonyana, who is directing and co-playwright of this particular piece. It's 2:30. We're going to wrap this conversation here, and then when we come back on the other side, we're going to be catching up with Dogodela. He's in the building. Duduzo Makatini.
Thanks, Bridge. A very good afternoon with the news headlines. EFF leader Julius Malema has hit back at critics who say that the EFF has benefited from the VBS bank looting. KZN police say various task teams set up to combat violent crime are attaining notable results despite shootouts with criminals and mass killings that grab people's attention. And an inmate at the Goodwood Correctional Center in Cape Town has been transferred to a maximum center after the Zimbabwean national shot a video boasting how good life was in prison. Details of these and other stories coming up 3 o'clock.
Arts, culture, and robust conversations with Bridget Masinga.
the sounds of Udokotela himself. Of course, he needs no introduction. Pianist, composer, healer, philosopher, Dokotela Nduduzo Makhathini. How are you?
I'm doing well. So great to be here.
I haven't seen you in the physical.
Since New York.
Yeah. We've spoken, but
2019.
Right. I know, right?
Right.
So you guys on here on this show don't know. In my previous place of residency, we did a lot of traveling. And the one year, I was fortunate enough to travel to New York with Nduduzo Makhathini and a couple of people from the station. And it was a lovely trip, including Sis Brenda Sisani.
Right.
It was a wonderful trip.
It was really beautiful.
I thoroughly enjoyed myself in the cold of New York winter.
Yeah, and that is the trip that actually set up everything for me, if you remember correctly. Because that's when I would do Jazz Congress, and I did the Blue Note Club in New York. And that's how Blue Note came about. And,
really?
And that's how the touring schedule came about. And so, like, there's a sequence of things that actually start from that moment.
Oh, wow.
Right, yeah.
Very interesting.
Right.
Dr. Phil talks about, now that people are disputing whether he's a doctor or not, the television psychologist, I use that word very loosely. But Dr. Phil has often spoken about life having a sequence of, and he put it down to numbers. I don't know if the formula is, it can be debated, but he said that life has a sequence of pivotal moments and instrumental people and life-defining intersections. That you can trace it back and say everything changed after then.
That moment, yeah. I believe in something almost similar. I believe like it's more permanent. It's kind of like equations, and every now and again we tap into them in a much more meaningful.
Oh, they're asking me to just get you to move that way a little bit. Is that better?
Right.
Okay, there we go. Okay.
Right. So I think it's, a lot of people would call it different things, but there is something to be said about the concept of time and space, and that kind of collapse when these two kind of are in sync.
Yeah.
There tends to be all of these things that we're like, I think this was meant to be, so to speak. And I call them cosmic equations, when things just kind of work out.
Yeah.
But the equations nonetheless. So I kind of believe that concept of numbers around there, some kind of geometry, some kind of alignment here.
Every time I speak to Nduduzo Makhathini, I forget the last time we spoke, you had just, been inferred as a Dokotela.
Right.
And you were saying something and it sparked a thought in my head. I'll go back to the podcast. And I was like, your next album should be called that. And now as you speak about cosmic equations, I'm like, wait a minute. That could be like
that's the next one.
A memoir or something like you know what I mean?
Right.
Could tie in there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Right.
But so was the intention? And I get the sense you move with intentionality because you're so rooted in the spirit, right?
Right.
So no moment is fleeting or wasted or unrecognized for you.
Right.
Was the intention heading into, now that we're talking about that moment in 2019, heading into that moment, what was it in part also laying the groundwork for what would come for you in that moment?
Right.
Or it was a happy, as you say, happy sort of this coming together of these things?
I think artistically I've been kind of like laying these foundations and working on a lot of things to kind of fine tune my own weapons, so to speak. But I think that there is some other work that is worth acknowledging that was happening in the background. If you remember correctly, we were there with Babusipho Dlamini. In South Africa, Themba Mgcina had been involved, trying to really connect with Blue Note. So I guess it's like it's a bit of both. It's kind of like getting all the things that were needed for this moment to happen kind of worked out, and then just lending the artistic expression by intensity. And, you know, the word was out in New York that there was this unknown musician that played here, and everyone was talking. And so the news got to Blue Note, of course. So I think, you know, it's always a bit of both. You know, you always have to kind of like keep working really hard so that when the moment then comes, like, you know, then the equation makes sense.
Absolutely. Oprah speaks about preparation and hard work meeting opportunity equating to luck.
Right, and luck. You know, I spoke to a friend of mine. Someone said I was a very lucky person, which I believe I am. And this guy said, no, I think luck in a sense of, and then he spelled luck as L, living, U, under, C, cosmic, and then K, knowledge. So there's a sense in which in living under this cosmic knowledge, this knowledge of the beyond, we tend to align with these things. And so all of these things come really together beautifully. All of these quotes that you're bringing here.
Absolutely.
I'm resonating.
Hey, every time the good Dogotela is in conversation, I don't know, you just feel like, you know, you're in some universal school where so many things are being unearthed. We are in chat with, of course, a South African acclaimed musician. He is a pianist, a composer, a healer, none other than Dogotela Nduduzo Makhathini. If you want to join the conversation, you are more than welcome to do so. 061 410 4107 is our WhatsApp line.
When Freddie, a troubled woman, is nearly assaulted outside a nightclub, the toilet attendant steps in to help. Baba, a former child soldier, acts with swift, unstoppable brutality. She's entranced. The pair form an instant, intoxicating connection. Something dark within both of them quickly emerges. Soon, they set about exacting revenge on people from Freddie's past. Baba's skill for violence and Freddie's tinge of psychopathy prove a lethal combination. But they are not the only ones on the hunt. We hunt together, Mondays to Wednesdays at 9 p.m. on S3. Starts 24th of July. Channel your best drama with BBC Primetime, only on S3. Open up.
Yeah, we can do this. It's been a long time coming. This deserves to grow. It's a great business. If they don't like it, someone else will. And fund me so I can expand. Maybe I can offer them shares. I need to retain equity for staff. It's going to be good for recruitment. Yeah.
Possible begins with that one great idea. When Telkom enables entrepreneurs to make their ingenuity a reality, we grow local economies. Telkom. Possible begins here.
A century is full of thrilling moments. You can break it down to 10 decades. It is a journey of all kinds of challenges, but winners don't focus on the storm. They look forward to a rainbow. By contrast, South Africa tied its best ever gold medal performance in 100 years. From 1912 in Stockholm to London in 2012. Once again, it was in the pool that Team SA did most of their triumphing, with Cameron van der Berg setting a world record in winning the men's 100-meter breaststroke. And who will ever forget Chad de Clos toppling Michael Phelps in the men's 200-meter butterfly.
It's going to be close. Does he touch? He doesn't. Leclos touched because Phelps got it wrong on the line. It's unbelievable.
Magical moments of the Olympics. Brought to you by SABC Sport, proud broadcaster of the Olympic Games Paris 2024.
For the love of the game.
July is Film Month, and KwaZulu-Natal Tourism and Film Authority welcomes filmmakers from all over the world who are attending the exciting festivities that are lined up. The Durban International Film Festival, the Durban Film Mart, and ISPE to program. The Simon Sabela KZN Film and Television Awards are on the 20th of July, and we look forward to hosting you in our beautiful province and doing tourism and film business. You can join the conversation using the hashtags SSA24, Beyond Imagination, and hashtag KZN has it all.
Arts, culture, and robust conversations with Bridget Masinga.
061-410-4107 is our WhatsApp line, and 086-000-2032 is the number that you can call us on. We are, of course, it's Friday, so, fabulous fun conversations with friends of the show, and the Dogotela stopped by. He's got a performance, actually, that's happening tonight, right?
It was last night.
It was last night.
But I have more that's coming up.
By the way, Dogotela, when do you lecture?
Well,
You're always touring.
Yeah, indeed. I'm teaching only postgraduate studies, so honors, masters, PhDs, and this really allows me to utilize the online platforms for teaching quite a lot, and also given these are kind of older and more kind of matured students that a lot of them are working and they don't want to be at campus all the time.
Yes. And you play more of a supervisory role, right?
Right. So I'm not, I think what confuses people is that they think I'm teaching jazz piano.
Yes.
But I'm teaching jazz histories, methods. I'm teaching musicology. I'm teaching all the modules that are theoretical. So I don't really teach any practical studies.
Yeah. Would you ever want to, at some point, maybe when you've got more time, teach the practical studies of it? Because I almost feel like the way you come to piano in itself one day is probably going to form part of a curriculum of study of your work.
Right. So I think since 2005, I've been teaching practical studies. At VETS, I taught. At Forte, I taught a lot of. And I think now, given that I'm also writing a book, and I think just like being in this space of thought, in this way of text, I think is really a comfortable space for now. I might kind of return to practical studies, but for now, I'm just thinking more about the practice as opposed to doing the practice, but thinking about and thinking through it by way of traveling and doing these concerts. So kind of opening space for artistic research.
I get you.
Where, the actual doing is a tool for research. Yeah.
The book, is it more memoir? Is it more...
I guess it's kind of at the border of my story or our story, and kind of like academic as well. So the book has a working title already. It's called Ongoing Studies in Dusonicities. And I've got a couple of pages down, but the book is kind of writing itself under what I've called now writing as ritual, which basically says there are all of these voices through guided mobility that are constantly whispering things to me. And when I was doing my PhD dissertation, there was a difficulty of citing those voices because they are both silenced by way of cosmology, but they are also silenced by way of how we understand what is literature. And literature as it stands now doesn't include dreams, it doesn't include visions because of issues of how do we verify that. But when you live in a world that encompasses these things as kind of the everyday, like in the way that Babu Mutwa has been telling us about the seriousness of dreams and how they inform lived realities.
Of course.
So there's a sense in which this refusal by the academia to recognize these sites of knowledge production is the very failure of the notion of a university as kind of subscribing to a very biased notion of what truth is that is Eurocentric, Euro-American, and kind of pushes everything into this kind of otherness. So what they've called global north and the global south. And the global south really becomes this space that can enunciate.
Yes.
And so academia, part of the reason why we're in the university is kind of to protest those structures and kind of produce what has been called pluriversals, where we come into an understanding that there are various cosmological lens that could be used to understand writing, especially around spirituality, religiosities, culture, the sonic, all of those dimensions, the humanities, kind of has to speak to a cosmological locatedness.
Yes.
So this is really what I've been grappling with inside and outside of the institution.
Very interesting. And I mean, me as a lames man, because, you know, he's an academic, and
I'm a pianist.
quite well studied. But me as a ladies' man, as you're talking now, I'm thinking, I guess the interesting sort of friction for me would be that from a Western lens, you know, sort of the cosmics as they relate to the dreams and the ethereal have been studied, have been noted and documented, but very much from a Western understanding, Western methodology, Western
they've
medicine.
used what they've called hermeneutics to kind of underpin dreams and meaning.
Yes.
But for us, it's a paradigm that is alive. So it's not an imaginative space. It's not reduced to a non-reality.
Yes.
It's actually a place, a site that's constantly alive.
Yes.
So I think those are some of the difficulties in kind of like consolidated. I remember with even the ethics committee at Stellenbosch, there was kind of like these frictions around how I understand sound as ritual, for instance, and how their understanding of ritual has to do with other different sets of rules. So if my sound is ritual, so someone that comes to my gig needs consent forms and all of that. And so I was kind of saying, I grew up in these practices. So there's a necessity to acknowledge that these worlds do not need to be included in academia. These worlds are alive because in the moment of us including these knowledge systems, there's the violence of them succumbing to protocols of the framework. So the challenge here is, how do we produce new frameworks that are not including, not inclusivity, but asking the question of why are we excluded in the first place?
Yeah. A very, very hard question that you're asking there, Dogotela, but this is why you do what you do. We've got some voice notes for you, and I think one of those headphones is working.
Right.
Let's go to WhatsApp in a moment on 061-410-4107 is our WhatsApp line. 086-000-2032 is the number that you can call us on. And yes, Dr. Veli Nhlapo in Bethlehem, indeed, I know I'm in the full presence of jazz royalty. And the spirituality that he brings into his discipline by way of music is very much part and parcel of who Dogotela is, you know, and that comes through in all the works that he does.
Right.
Let's go to WhatsApp and then let's hear what else is on your mind.
My name is Lungile. I am calling from Mdantsane, out of London. I know Unduduzo through Ayanda Sikade the drummer, and I know Ayanda Sikade as a young man through our neighbor, the late Lulama Gaulana, a jazz legend and icon in his own right. And I would know this gentleman through jazz music, and they would actually plant the seed going back from Lulama Gaulana and watching Ayanda Sikade grow. And then Nduduzo is just a marvel. I mean, I last saw him at Wits School of Arts, and this guy is wonderful. Proud of you, Nduduzo. Good job.
Hi, Bridget. I'd like to ask Dr. Magatini if every performance of his is a spiritual reconnection. Is every single performance a spiritual reconnection? Or sometimes it's like, it's a run-of-the-mill show. But if it is, if everyone is somehow spiritual or reconnecting, does it mean you never become nervous? Do you never become nervous playing your instrument? Thank you.
All right. I mean, let's get to that, and then we'll wrap up the show after. So let's get to. That's an interesting question.
It is an interesting question. So I think the challenge here always for me becomes, how do you come to sound? And I've been thinking really quite a lot about that. So I come to sound by way of ritual as part of my upbringing.
Okay.
So in this upbringing, sound is kind of invoked by way of function. So we had songs for birth, songs for death, rain songs. So in other words, you don't sing a rain song if you don't want it to rain. So then sound breaks as a way of acknowledging some kind of cosmic connection. And then skip forward and come to a space of curriculum where sound is understood as study, and in a very loose way and in a very problematic way, the university understands studies of sound. Sound outside, and when you graduate, sound is understood as entertainment. So I kind of like really want to maintain a kind of integrity in the fact that I come to sound by three ways. One is socialization, which may include school. One is lineage, which may include the upbringing I'm talking about and the people that were song makers in my family. But one very important one is by initiation and rites of passage, which then invokes the idea of ubungoma. So this, for me, is very much linked to my practice and the ways that I divine and practice as a healer. So it's not kind of a standard practice that all jazz musicians are doing. So, but this is a unique thing that is linked to these three modalities and kind of prioritizes the notion of initiation as a way of dealing with sound.
The long and short of it is no. He's never nervous when he gets to the stage.
Maybe I can. Maybe I can. But that would be the result of the deep presence of the spirits and the ancestors that are in there, but not as a way of performing. In fact, I've been pushing against this idea of a performance as an idea that fails anyway.
I get you. We've run out of time completely and utterly. And I know that my listeners are only now waking up to try and be in conversation with you. But very quickly, and I don't think I've ever sort of asked you this, of your earliest memory in connection to song.
Earliest memory, I just found songs happening, like when I started like being aware of being in the world, there was just songs everywhere. I don't have a moment like when I decide, okay, wow, now I want to do this, or now I see this. It's just like I'm part of a very long song by way of history, by way of lineage. I'm part of a long song.
Okay. We'll leave it there for this afternoon. That was Dokotela Nduduzo Makhathini. We have to wrap up the show and take some spots. Ordinarily, I would have asked him also, when did he know he was famous? As you know, we've come to ask our guests who come, but then I would have gotten that kind of response from him. From myself and my team, I appreciate you for choosing to be in conversation with us every single day. Have an incredible weekend, and if you are traveling, I hope that you are safe. If you're going to be on the roads, please be safe. Half the fun is enjoying the journey. He's got a brand new album that is out. Unomkhumbulwane.
Yes, he got it. Nomkhumbulwane. Mujaji. Yes, the rain goddess, mythical rain goddess.
Was this Queen Mujaji's other name?
Well, I think there are different invocations in different cultures, but the symbolism is all of them. They regulate fertility, they regulate water by way of the rain, the rainbow, and they create balance. So their kind of characteristics and signifiers are similar across various cultures throughout the Bantu people, the speaking people.
Clearly, he's due for another conversation on the show where we unpack the work a little bit more, because we fast ran out of time today. Have a great weekend. Inshallah, God willing, we do it again.
In the heart of darkness, a beacon of light emerges. A brand new season is coming your way with your 2024 Miss South Africa Top 30. Hosted by our reigning queen, Miss South Africa, we embark on a transformative journey. Join us for the spectacular new season of Crown Chasers.
Crown Chasers is back.
Starts 29 June at 8:30 p.m. only on S3 Open Up.
The Rockets and Umkhonto Kashaga will speak a different language from Siswati and Isindebele when they meet at the office made of grass. They both understand that only victory will impress their fans. This is the Mpumalanga Premiers International Cup 2024. Experience the thrilling encounter between the highly inspired Tears Galaxy and Eswatini champions Mbabane Swallows FC on Saturday, 20 July at 8 p.m. Live on SABC Sport on DTT Channel 4 and SABC radio stations. Also available on SABC Plus and SABCSport.com. #We love it here. Tickets are available at CompuTicket. Proudly brought to you by the TS Galaxy Foundation and SABC Sport.
For the love of the game.
The top stories at 3 o'clock. Malema responds